Hello. Today I'm going to be drawing a dolomedes spider. The photo is by James Reben, thanks to him. Oops, sorry, I don't know why my program shifted out of focus, but I don't know why it did that. That's really weird. Oh well. But yes, I'll be drawing a dolomedes spider. So, to start off, I'm going to start off with the gesture of the spider. Now, when I talk about gesture, and in a lot of my other videos I may have said this before, but I think it is helpful to reiterate. I talk about drawing either straight lines, C-curves, S-curves, ellipses of varying degrees, or shapes, whatever it would be. And like I was thinking of like the spider head, which is really interesting. It's a very interesting shape. I'm seeing like a triangle type thing kind of inset. I keep thinking of like a crab for some reason, but we'll get to that very soon. On the side, I always do highly recommend that you pull up the anatomy of whatever you're trying to draw, or if you have like a spider on the side. I just went to Google and I tried saving it to my phone, but for some reason it wasn't letting me do it before. Now it's letting me do it. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, I got this spider on the side because sometimes I feel like it could give a better idea of what you're trying to draw. So I believe this dolomedes spider, I believe it's a male. I'm under the impression that it's a male because of the abdomen in the back. It's a bit thinner. So yeah, let's start off with the ball of the cephalothorax. Which would be like that part there. And now we have our abdomen, which is connected to that cephalothorax. And you know what, I'm going to do it one more time because I'm seeing it a bit different. I think kind of like that. And just to establish a flow across the forms, I'm going to draw a partial ellipse kind of going in there. Kind of like that. Okay. So, on our spider, it has chelysarae, which I believe are these things here, which are like, I think probably how it eats. I'm not sure if they're related to, if it's like a proboscis or something like that, you know, how the spider would eat its prey. But I'm going to draw 2 pilot holes for that. I'm trying to think, because it's interesting. Kind of like wraps around the form of the ball. I'm trying to think how to do this without drawing a construction, because you also have the pedipalps, which I'm not sure what they're for, maybe dragging prey in closer. I'm guessing it's like an extra set of hands, so it can do the deed of eating. Seeing it kind of like there. Kind of like there. And the pedipalps would be, maybe they're even a little bit more further down. Kind of like there. Have to be like there. And I made it extend a bit further out than I wanted it to. So our spider has 8 legs, and all of those are connected to the thorax. So they're all, and I've looked at pictures of spiders before. Maybe it's not good for me to make assumptions, but I always thought the legs are a bit close together. Like I feel like with other bugs, they may be a bit further apart. Okay, so we have those. At this point, I'm going to draw, well, I'm trying to think what to do without drawing too much structure because I don't want to do all the structure yet. So I'm just going to draw some gestural lines to try to establish where I'll put certain things very soon when I start working on the construction. The pedipalp, so I just drew the Chelserae. Now I want to do the pedipalps, which are these things here. They kind of like go out, then kind of curve in a bit like a hook. Not really sure why they're doing that. I'm not sure if the spider is controlling it in some way, probably. Kind of like that. Maybe even a bit further out. Okay. Now I'm going to draw this spider's legs. And boy, does it have a lot of legs. It's always very overwhelming to draw spiders. Just because there's a lot going on. And like you always have to like really look at the image and think where it's going. Because it's like, look, it's got its back leg kind of like above its abdomen. So it's so weird. And there's lots of places for obstructed views, which is always a bit concerning. Because it's like kind of goes like that, and then like that. That may even be a bit too long, because I think to a certain extent I was getting it right until the end, and then it's just ever so slightly for that back leg. Now I'm going to do the other back leg, which is really straightforward. I think that's about right. The end section kind of like curves out a bit to the right based on the perspective. This back leg kind of like goes like that, then kind of like that a bit. This leg here kind of like quickly goes up and kind of goes a bit like that. Its front leg here kind of goes a bit up and down. I'm trying to compare whether I made it. No, I think that's right. Yeah, kind of like that. And I feel like the more I do these initial establishing gestural lines for the placement of the legs and where I can like orient everything around, I feel like the better I get at with it. Like, I'll probably mess up something eventually. But I'm going to go to this leg right here, which it's a bit obscured. I feel like you're rarely going to have a spider in which you see like 100% of everything. I feel like it always gets a bit defensive when anyone wants to take a picture of it, and it just causes a obscuring. Oh, I'm sorry, I was getting you see, look, I was making a mistake right here when I was trying to draw this leg, but I was drawing the closer one, which I should not have been doing. And it's about there. I keep thinking if I maybe should do that again. I think I'll do that one more time. I think to about there. That's a good place to keep it. Then for the front right leg, which goes about here, then down. And yeah, I think that's about right. And I just want to kind of go into the process of what I'm thinking. It took me a lot of drawing to kind of get to the point in which I feel like I'm trying to make comparisons about how different things orient compared to your reference. Because, like, you can tell that, like, there's a gap of space here and here, and here and here, and I'm trying to kind of match some of the shape language. Like, I see a bit of a triangle shape in this area. I'm not sure if that would be negative space, but I don't think it would be because it's not enclosed. But just establishing those initial lines, I feel like it takes a lot out of me. I wasn't expecting to be as tired as I was from it. But yeah, I think that's a good way to establish the initial gesture. And now I'm going to start working on the structure or construction. Now, the thing I want to hit are the web spinners. I feel like it's a bit difficult to see because, like, I think every spider has different web spinners, and obviously they're like a form that kind of, you know, it's how it shoots webs or does its web setup, and you know they're like forms to go into the abdomen. of our spider. And like I said, they're not always clear when you're seeing them. And I think it always depends on the spider. There are some spiders that I feel like good luck looking at it unless you know the actual anatomy and you have to like open a anatomy book on it, which doesn't make things always easy. The interesting thing here is I'm kind of seeing like this triangular like structure that wraps around her form. It's really interesting. I'm not sure why it does that, but that's what I'm seeing here. And I think it's a good way to kind of make that form attachment to like show how it all relates. Like it's kind of like a bit of a divot along the center line. The other thing I want to establish is the head. Like it's kind of like I drew the ball, and it's kind of like there's kind of like a flattish triangle shape for our like the main head where the eyes are. I will draw the eyes soon, by the way. But like it's kind of like it kind of looks like a lily pad to me. The kind of like it's kind of like a like how do I say it? You know what I'll do? I'm gonna draw it near the referencing the Chelsea, because it kind of looks like it's like a part of this form right here that kind of wraps around it all to relate it all, and then that pad kind of like it's like a disc shape that covers the majority of the legs. Like a lot of the legs are a bit obscured, and I keep thinking like a crab shell. I always think of like a crab shell when I think of spiders and scorpions and everything in between of that, because they're like armored. They're like they're really armored. Well, I think scorpions are more armored than spiders, but yeah, I drew that, and now I want to draw the eyes. I think spiders have 8 eyes usually. I'm gonna try to draw what I see here, which is interesting. The other thing I wanted to establish is I kind of see like a bulbing form, kind of goes like that and wraps around and connects to that whole shell shape that I was talking about before. I'm not going to draw the Chelsea yet, but I'm going to draw the eyes, which are a bit close together. It's really small, so I'm trying to use my shoulder to do it, and I'm trying to ghost my lines more. And the other interesting thing is thinking about perspective. It looks like the left eye is just a smidge larger than the right eye. That's just because of the perspective view. I mean, in reality, they're both the same, but because of the way perspective is, it kind of looks a bit like that, which is interesting because I always thought insects weren't affected by perspective so much when you're drawing them, but I guess I learn something new every time I go to this. And I may not even successfully draw every eye, because I may not be able to see every eye. Actually, I need to Google. I think all spiders have to have 8 eyes. I would think so. Oh, I guess some have 6 or fewer. Weird. See, I go into this learning something new. I should really crack open a book on spider anatomy. The other interesting thing here is I'm kind of seeing, like, I don't know, it feels like a brow line. I don't know why, but kind of seems like it kind of like curves a bit. But maybe I'm just making stuff up when I'm not really seeing it. I'm always kind of wondering, and now that I look at it again, I think that shape should have gone up a little higher, and it shouldn't have been as round like a crab shell. I think my thought of a crab shell kind of formed that. The other interesting thing is I think to that shell, it kind of hangs off a little bit when it does that. You know, thinking of it as like a 3-dimensional disc shell, and maybe I didn't do that as much justice as I should have. But now I want to draw the Chelsea, which are like they're like small nubs that connect to the form, and they are a little difficult to see, but they're there all right. They're like little beans And now I want to draw the pedipalps, which are like right here. They're they're like a bit more connected. They're a bit more connected. I'm gonna draw the ending caps first, because sometimes I feel like when I cap off the legs or these things first, it kind of makes me feel better about drawing them. I don't know why. I've just like, it feels a bit more, I don't know, I feel like the flow of it. So this part, I'm kind of drawing from the end to the start, but I can see they kind of twist again, even though it's a bit obscured in our dolomedes spider. But I thought I would draw that. Like, maybe if I cap both sausages. Nah, let me do that again. Like, kind of like that. Oh, it kind of goes up, kind of like that. And there's got to be another connecting point to it. And it's really hard to see, but I think it's kind of like a macaroni noodle in which it attaches. But maybe it's going further under. Like, I think this one you can clearly see it's kind of like a leaf. It's a bit like that. That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. But I think I'll try to do that in two. It's kind of like two sausages connected to each other. The other thing I'm kind of realizing is I think I should have drawn this line a bit. No, I'm right. Okay, no, I'm right. I'm gonna draw it as its own bulging like bean shape. Then I have the other one. It's a bit thinner. It connects, and I think I made that a bit too large. But they connect kind of like that. I keep thinking that maybe it should have curved in a little bit more than how I did it. Now I'm going to cap off all of the legs, just like adding a little ending point to each leg, like basically just a semicircle. I'm just doing that because I feel like it helps me the best. And the interesting thing here is I see like if you're looking at the image where my mouse cursor is over here to the left, I am seeing a little claw-like thing, which probably helps it climb everything and anything it needs to. So they're all there if you spend a little time and look a little closer. They're just very, very subtle. And I've seen this on a lot of insects. I bet all of them have it. Not sure what they're called, but clearly they help them stay on the form they need to. But yeah, they're all there if you look close enough. Although you can't see all of them all the time. Based on like this one here, I'm only seeing like one little claw thing because of the perspective, I believe. Like there's a second one actually there, but we just can't see it based on the perspective. Yeah, it's very subtle. Very interesting. Okay, well, now that I think about it, I don't know if I should like color the eyes in a little bit. Maybe I'll do that real quick just to make it a little bit more clear what I was seeing. Now I only saw 4. I bet the other ones are like right there. They're just so small. I bet this spider has 6. Maybe not. Maybe if I Google it, I would be proven dead wrong. But I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not sure maybe if those are 2. It's so hard to tell. But I'll leave that up to you. So now at this point, I want to draw the legs. So we covered all of the major forms that I was seeing before. And now I want to draw the legs out. And they're very interesting. With all of them, I see this initial shape. Well, there's like an initial thicker bean shape, and then it kind of tapers out. But as I've drawn spiders before, I know there's always like an under part that we just can't always see 100%. So I think I'm first going to start with drawing this leg here. And it's interesting because, like, I know there's always that nub part, but it's probably dangerous for me to jump to conclusions. But I'm seeing a elongated bean-like shape. Kind of goes and connects to that nub. Then I'm seeing, it's really interesting because, like, this part, it looks a bit flat just based on the perspective. It's like a little up there on the abdomen. And it looks so square. Like, I know can't be, and it's just a perspective issue. But, like, where you have this leg change here, it also looks a bit square. It kind of looks like a tapering cylinder, in my opinion. And they both kind of like curve in. And then this, as like this further section, as the leg section goes near the end, it kind of like thins out. I'm kind of seeing another 2 sections on it before it gets really thin. Kind of like that and that. It gets really thin. Kind of like that. Okay, now for the back right leg. It's extended more, so we're not seeing as much as that perspective thing that we saw before. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should have tried to, like, handle these as, like, a bunch of separate bean segments. Like, I'm seeing, I'll try to cap them off where I'm seeing them. Because it's like this one is a bit before the end. A bit like that. That's the shape that I'm seeing, kind of like that. Then kind of a thinning out shape. Kind of like a bunch of like stacked cups. And now that I look at this gestural line that I did before, I'm kind of thinking that maybe it goes out a bit more like that. I think it's a bit more like that than what I did before. I'm also only seeing one of those sharp legs, not 2, but I know the second one's got to be there. So I caught 1, 2... kind of like that. So I got the major ones, and this last one kind of like bumps up and kind of goes down, and then the last form here is a bit thin. Attaches to that. Kind of like that. I keep thinking maybe I should have made it a bit thinner. Kind of like that. Alrighty. Now I'm going to do that leg. The initial one, it kind of like goes up. Then it kind of, like, I hate to summarize this whole big shape into one, but I'm kind of thinking I may want to do that. Then it kind of goes up, then bulbous. Kind of like that. And then the next shape is kind of like that. Kind of like that. Then the last shape is thinning out. bit like that, even though I kind of messed that up. Kind of thins out, kind of like that. Now I'm going to do the right second leg, or right second back leg. It's a bit obscured based on how the fold that we're seeing, so I'll try to draw a portion of it to how it's connecting, even though I won't be able to draw all of it. And it kind of like tapers a bit, like I'm seeing like a second form that goes there, then a second form goes there. Got that leg. Now I'm going to do this leg, which goes up. Like the first part kind of goes up. Then I'm seeing this other segment here that's kind of flat near that end, but does connect. You know, I keep thinking of like solo cups. If you're familiar, like they kind of look like upside down solo cups in my eyes. That's kind of the shape that I keep thinking of. It's kind of, not that I drink or play beer pong or anything like that, but that's kind of like the shape that I keep seeing again and again and again. And then maybe I should have elongated that one. Kind of like that. Then the interesting part here is kind of before the end, it kind of looks like it's getting a bit thinner. A bit more sausage-like. Maybe I didn't do justice to that, of how it connects. But the ending part, like, I think I should have made that longer, which is a bit disappointing. Okay, I think I can think what I did wrong. I think that part should have been a bit more like that near the end, and then I would cap it off as like those 2 units. So like probably about here. Kind of like that. And I still don't like how I did that. I feel like this last part should be a bit longer. So that goes to show that I probably made it a bit too thin. I mean, a bit too long. Kind of like that. Yeah, I'm just not happy with myself with how I did that. Maybe I should have extended it a little bit, but I'll stick to it here, and I'll cap it off as it gets really thin at that point. Now I will draw, oh, you know what, the other thing is, here and here, I keep wondering if maybe I'm not sure if that was the pedipalp, the thing that like it uses to eat, I'm seeing like 2 forms here and there. I'm kind of wondering if maybe that was related. Like, I want to draw these things. I don't know what they are, but I definitely see them. And I just like can't get away without drawing them. I wonder if they're like for this thing and this thing. I'm not sure if those are pedipalps or something like that. But like I keep seeing them again and again, and I'm wondering if maybe the connection to them was a bit further down, and maybe the initial pilot hole I drew wasn't the best. But I'm definitely seeing that. The other thing here is I'm thinking about how the 2 close things are really wrapping around that shell form, even though my drawing has become a bit of a mess. I'm going to work on this leg now. I'm seeing like a really big bean shape. It kind of like caps off at that point. Like at that point. That point. And then I see a bit of an abrupt angle change. Like there. It connects to that leg there. And then it kind of like flows a bit down. Like, I feel like I need to summarize this in a couple more sections. Because I think a little bit of the mistake that I'm doing is I'm not trying to make every leg fit to the same consistency of how I've drawn the other legs. And I think the hair of the spider is kind of obscuring the view a little bit, and that's kind of why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. But like, I feel like I just want to summarize this part. Like, I'm not sure it's good enough to go by like the hair color, which is like kind of alternating. But I keep thinking maybe that's the best way to delineate the individual segments of the legs. But I think I'm gonna try to continue it down to the point over here. Kind of make it taper out. Kind of like that. And the last part is very thin. A bit like that. Maybe it should have been a bit longer over here, but I'll stick with that. Okay, now I'm going to do the front left leg from our left. And I keep thinking, like, I don't want to summarize the whole thing. Or maybe I do want to do that. But I'm seeing like a cap end here. And it kind of looks like there's that kind of like caps off there a little bit. Then it kind of, this looks like one solid shape, in my opinion. And it slowly tapers off ever so slightly. Kind of like that. And I realize this last section should probably be down a bit further than I put it, because it looks like I underestimated how long it should be as it tapers, because it's like a very thin portion. And I realize I keep messing up the tapering of those little end parts, which is very frustrating to me. Now I am going to do the front right leg. I'm trying to think how it caps off. Connects around that attachment part, kind of like that. The interesting thing here is like this part right here, it looks like it's a bit like a bulbing, like a bit of a shape like that. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So I think I'll draw it. And it's really hard to see any individual segments here. Obviously they have to be there. But I wanted to cap off the leg here. And I think I'll summarize all of these. I hope I'm doing this justice, but I'll try to do it because it's kind of like it tapers out. Kind of like that. I'm really debating with myself whether I should have somehow drawn all of these individual legs in separate parts, kind of like the stacking solo cups that I was thinking about before, but I'm gonna draw this last bit. Kind of like that. But yeah, that's how I would tackle handling the dolomedes spider. I think I should probably review some of my older notes on insects and try to think if I'm doing this the best way that I really am. But yeah, if you have a question, please ask in the comments. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. But yeah, thanks again to James Reben for this spider. Every time I draw spiders, I keep thinking to myself that I need to draw more. And it's very, very frustrating, but part of the process. And now that I'm seeing the web spinner, it kind of looks like the web spinners are a bit closer, and I kind of obscured it initially. Like, I feel like it's a bit more like that, because I feel like I'm seeing just a little bit of that other web spinner. But oh well. If I look longer at this, I'll probably spot 100 more mistakes that I made. But thank you for listening. Have a great time, day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Bye.